I saw some Reddit thread about, we were muted, huh?
Yeah. Oh god, that's actually so bad. But
Man,
at least for the people inside of Dota TV, they would have heard
we
us.
had such a cool conversation
We
about.
actually did as well. I apologize. I also realized that's the reason why the music wasn't playing out before and people were listening to the tunes.
I see.
Sorry. Hello, everyone. We were having one of the greatest. I was actually really enjoying that
Yeah,
conversation too.
because you know what? Somebody taught me once that it's better to talk about the players than just turn them into nameless faces.
Yeah.
And I think it's fun, but
Yeah, that was actually one of the reasons too. Like I know Valve was a big stickler for that stuff too. They always wanted us to actually say the player names, not the hero
yeah,
names,
you
when
can.
we did calls.
We could talk about this draft. I could talk about how Veno's really cool for the way that No Diggity plays. They like to pick Void because it's a hero that can do a lot without that much farm. And on the flip side of things, Power Rangers, they have one of the most stable offlaners in the Nature's Prophet, and Doom obviously speaks for itself. This has been one of the most important heroes drafted so far, but we could talk about the players themselves and why it's unique. Like Cinderin, who I talked about, he always had that itch to just want to play Dota again, and I think it's really tremendous that he's willing to risk another part of his really successful casting career and just say,
Mhm.
I'm going to put myself on the line. Because I honestly, I wasn't able to do that. I was afraid, and for him to be able to do that and say I have enough confidence in myself, I don't care how this team does at this point. I'm very proud of Cinderin, and I hope that he continues the dream so that I get more gigs. No, but on the real, it's pretty inspiring that he got a team like this to where they are, and make no mistake about it though, all of these guys are very committed. They have
Mhm.
attitude-wise, this might be one of the best teams. Like Yapsor, uh, Era, Kezu, Quaikfa. All I've heard from past teammates of them is that they're very easy to work with, especially a guy like Yapsor who's new to the scene, who's willing to just soak up information. But enough about No Diggity, as we
Yeah.
can focus on
We
Power Rangers.
Yeah, PR, Arise, the loose cannon, and also amazing mid player of Power Rangers.
I mean, this guy, he he makes S4 sometimes look amateur at Magnus. Like this guy is. When I think of Magnus, when I start to think of Magnus, I think of Arise because even though S4 might be the better player, when it comes to just like pure Magnus, for some reason it always flashes back to this guy. And even regardless of what meta is at, he's gonna make the hero work for him. And you
Yeah.
see the immediate respect there. And a lot of these players have a pretty storied history in Dota. They haven't achieved maybe winning a huge international event, but they've been very stable. And so far in this qualifier, I think they've been pretty good.
Yeah, they've actually been one of the top teams out of the qualifier. There was a Team Empire looked very shaky in the early games, and it is one of those things too. Like when you hit like a major qualifier, like there's some teams which you expect to do really well, and they just don't perform. And then there's that one team which is the underdog that just seems to be able to perform better. I think it was 4ASC during our was that the Frankfurt qual? No, that was during the last TI qualifier, which
Yeah.
really stepped up for us.
I think for events like this, for sure, it's kind of where you want to prove yourself, and I think that's why a lot of people had took some issue with the way that the qualifiers did, because potentially two of these teams do deserve to go, and
Yep.
there are, especially in Europe, are these teams that are so strong.
Yeah.
There are going to be a lot of teams here that deserve to make it, but unfortunately, it is rough. Like Empire, who has been doing very well in the international scene as of late. They took games off plenty of good teams. They're not doing so hot in this qualifier so far. Like they're not doing too great. Whereas on the flip side of things, we get in Group A at the top of standings, No Diggity and Power Rangers. And in Group B, we've got Ad Finum and Vega Squadron. Obviously, they haven't played too many games, but overall, some surprises there. Considering how many veteran teams are in these qualifiers, like I would have thought Empire would have been a no-brainer for Group A.
Yeah, but they just haven't stepped up. Hard times ahead for him. We're almost actually at the end of our draft now. As far as these drafts go for both these sides, there doesn't really seem to be anything out of the ordinary. This is No Diggity through and through. It's the Keizu Void. It's the Invoker Quoitfa. It's the Venomance, which they have been switching around a little bit, but looks like to be in the hands of Yapsor in this game.
Yeah, they can still maybe run it safe lane. Uh, there's options, but Venomancer I think is the most interesting hero so far out of the meta that's kind of popped up, because anybody you talk to hates playing with or against. It's just
Mm-hmm.
one of those heroes that the nature of the hero, you're like a Baneling from StarCraft 2. You go on this Venomancer. If you don't immediately blow him up, then he just kind of pops that Poison Nova, and team fights become nearly impossible. You just start to sweat things, and things get really chaotic and hectic. So not fun for anybody to play against. All the poison-based heroes, like Viper, Venomancer, just obnoxious.
The ultimate coding. Hey, Venomancer was one of my big heroes to play.
Was it?
Didn't we talk about this one yesterday? No, I talked about this with Wagi yesterday. And he asked me like, what was the hero which you tell everyone should play at the very start of a game? Like, it's Venomancer, man.
Nah, dude.
It's because you always get vision.
Do you remember what your first hero of Dota ever was?
My first ever hero?
Yeah, ever?
Yes, it was Dro Ranger.
Okay. That would make some sense. Mine was Abaddon.
Really?
Yeah.
What made you pick Abaddon?
The person my sister was dating at the time introduced me to Dota, so they were like, pick Abaddon, it's really easy. So now, but I don't associate anything like with it like you obviously do.
Right. Well, yeah.
But
I was told to take the Dro and go jungle and rush Morbid Mask.
that's close enough.
That was what I was told to do in my
Meta-
first game. But
the
that was
meta's
back when
close
Dro had the 33% chance to get instant kill on a neutral.
I'm actually pretty surprised that PR decided to take the Queen of Pain, by the way. You know why a lot of people request heroes like this? Especially, I think, Arise has a similar mentality to the Snowballers, is because you look at the enemy team, and you look at your team, and you think, I want to control this game myself. Like, I want to be part of the reason why we win or lose. Like, if you're a mid player, you want to put that kind of pressure on yourself. That's the kind of pressure I think that a guy like Sumail puts. Like, he probably does the same. Like, it's storm time. The game will be determined. If I have a great game, then we'll go ham. If I don't, then we'll lose. But more often than not, they succeed. So when you have a hero like Queen of Pain, it's not great against Faceless Void, obviously because of the time dilation and Chrono, and Invoker does quite well against it in lane because you can zone out. But I think it's one of those heroes that is left over, that snowballs really well, that Arise is comfortable with, and that's what you want in a game like this. You want comfort.
How do they actually think about that with the clash of personalities? You have Coinfer going up against Arise. Arise, the aggressive guy. How does Coinfer then play against that? Because Coinfer seems to be a little bit more calculated with his attacks.
Yeah, I mean, Quakefa has always been one of those players that is very mechanically talented and is willing to sit back and farm and let things happen to him, just because mechanically this guy's near the top, right? He always has been. I think a lot of people made the argument at TI3 he might have been one of the best players in the world when he was on that Mouse team originally, and even on Team Tinker, which wasn't wildly successful, obviously, but there were still flashes of brilliance where he could pull them out of unwinnable scenarios. So you've got a guy who is still going to play these Invoker type heroes that are heavy farm oriented and kind of let the game filter towards him. Whereas you have somebody like Arise that naturally he's the playmaker. He's the one that wants to get there and aggressive. And what it's really going to come down to is, can Arise kind of temper things sometimes? Is he going to get over aggressive too often, or can he kind of just take a step back?
Well, we're going to find out. Our game is now drafted at least, so the Alchemist, again, this guy keeps appearing in a whole bunch of games, and it always seems to be a little bit hit and miss with an Alchemist. He farms up, he's ahead of absolutely everyone, then you lose one fight, and then there's like 1,500 gold goes the other way.
I think the hero's really stable, especially with this lineup, though. Think about who he can give Axe to. Obviously, the Invoker, I think, will build it for himself, but for example, giving it to Kezu, who doesn't get a lot of farm to begin with, that would be a pretty huge boon to him.
I'm actually wondering too, like, because Syndron's a big believer in the VS Ags. We saw a lot of that appearing in the North American qualifiers yesterday. Massive leads, and then all of a sudden the VS just swaps them in, and then you got like multiple controls. Because obviously you have like two vengeful spirits.
And the Agonist Revenge is very strong, and on top of that, the Venoags is the Venoags. Everybody knows what that one's going to accomplish for you, and you're going to see it's just going to be obnoxious to play against more than anything.
First game of the day. First game of the day. I gotta start doing my checklist blitz so I don't screw up the overlays.
Nah, it's all good.
Okay, people want to turn you up a little bit more. So
of course.
Well,
You always have to turn me up 20 to 30%, I think, in every cast.
Yeah. You're softly spoken.
Maybe I should.
It's funny that when you get hyped, like we actually have to start turning you down then.
Yeah. That's when you know, though, that I'm really...
Yeah, that's
I'm
when
really
you're
feeling.
enjoying the game.
I cannot fake it. Everyone always tells me, at least try, but no, I can't.
Hey, Valini was doing it yesterday with Charlie.
Yeah?
They were casting, so Valini was doing play-by-play. And we're just sitting out there on the couch, and all of a sudden you're hearing Valini actually raising up his voice and getting that hype tone behind him. It's like, okay, this is kind of cool.
Benlini, I gotta listen to that. So Battle of the Runes. They should contest this, by the way, because denying the first rune of the game.
They're going to lose both runes, actually.
Oh, this would
Diggity.
be massive.
Because goddamn managed to slip himself onto the bottom.
That I can't stress enough. That's not a minor thing at all, especially for the Alchemist. For other heroes, especially with the XP nerf of the bounty rune, now that it doesn't give you that half level, it's not as big. But for a hero like Alchemist, it impacts quite a lot just because of how much it gives you, like the potential net difference.
I'm interested to see too, like how much space to be able to like get created on this top lane. Because you're running like a Venomancer and a VS duel. Like, how does this support Venomancer just meant to work? Like, you come in, you Gale once, like, where do you then rotate? Like, as far as a support player, as a Venomancer, what's your timing? What's your approach to this game?
Hey, you can just play things relatively passively, wait things out. You're a really good harasser, and they've got a lot of kill potential just between these two heroes, and I think that's why they decided to go for a more defensive tri-lane, because you want to protect this Alchemist farm. There's a really good chance if you don't have both of these heroes, for example, if you only had the Venge, then the Nature's Prophet would take really big advantage of that. And probably there's not much that they can do in this mid lane either. If I'm thinking about this game, Toby, the way that I'm looking at it is as soon as this hits nighttime, I'm going to rotate both of these supports down to bottom because there's a lot of kill potential
Opening. Top. No, wait, no, that's not. Never mind. I'm getting over excited when you get a Gale as well as a Missile like that.
Yeah.
Gotta remember that's a Doom.
That hero is power incarnate. Can't do anything against it. Already level 2. Very strong. Plus they did buff the Venge though recently because of the mana change, right? Now she has 2 stuns to immediately start with. It's a lot better.
True.
I think Vogged was telling me that with a lot of the changes in both the mana and the Blightstone makes Venge a lot stronger as a support.
Does that actually mean that Wraith King will also have double stun with the change?
Maybe. A lot of those heroes do. Just because of that. I'm not sure of him in particular, but I know for a fact Venge does now.
Oh. A little bit more of a passive start to the laning phase. They no Diggity supporters do have to stay on this top lane with the duel, which seems to be a little bit more of a win here for Power Rangers. Like, Big Numb's just chilling out.
Yeah. Anytime you devote 3 heroes to this, and all it takes you is, you know, the 2 to sit up here, it's incredibly good. Because now you know you're winning 2 lanes guaranteed, right? The bottom lane is relatively even, but the Spectre should still get a good amount of farm. I guess the trade-off is that the Void is going to do quite well. That's the one issue that Spectre provides is, what are you going to do with the Spectre? There's not a whole lot of kill potential, even with the Lion in your lane. And Lion is one of the strongest.
Oh, speaking of Lion, with an Invisor, initiates on Qualifier. They're chipping down him. I don't know if they're going to get through him completely, and in fact they will not. Qualifier goes back behind the tower. One other thing I also noticed, like, unless Cheshire Cat's going to make a play here, Yapsel doesn't really have mana to work with. Big Num, he had the option to pick up the Satyr Creep, and he actually chose not to.
Yeah, I saw that. He went for the mana burn.
Yeah, like, what's the point of that?
I think it's because primarily due to the matchup with Venomancer. Venomous Gale costs so much. Venomancer doesn't really have a lot of mana to work with in the first place. What is a Venomancer with Poison Sting going to do? You can trade hits with him pretty cleanly. I would prefer him at some point to switch out, just because obviously the HP regen for you and the Nature's Prophet is really effective, but do you really need it if you're never going to get Galed?
It's true. It's also like you said, like Syndra's got like 2 stuns behind him, and if you mana burn once, then there is no initiation. Yeah. And then it's like it's just treants, and you got Infernal Blade, so you win, right?
Yeah, they're getting rid of the kill potential for a small cost. At this point, though, you would prefer if you had the option, anyways.
Still wondering like if they win out all like overall, because you are running Eero, who's not forced into concoction. Like, you don't have any kill potential yourself, so Eero is able to go for the 2 points up in Greed as well as the 1 point up in Acid Spray early on.
Yeah.
So this Alchemist already has 18 CS on the safe lane, and he's 300. Like, we're 4 minutes in, he's 300 net worth above that of the Spectre.
The problem though is that the Spectre's level 4.5, and he's gonna hit a 6 before the Al can do anything, and they're gonna be forced to be playing a little bit defensively. I think the good news is that Kezu is playing this lane really well and is getting min-max like crazy. He's already got 17 CS to his name, and on top of that, he's almost already level 5. So the level 6 is going to come up much faster than PR think. And look at Dig's lineup too. They've got a lot of different voices set up for the Chrono. They've got the Invoker Sunstrike from halfway across the map. That's enough damage to usually kill anybody. He could even rotate into the mid lane and pick up some heroes. So kind of look for this guy to be the playmaker that Dig need to get themselves out of this poor laning phase.
Another way is also like look at rotation. Nature's Prophet. Like you started the gank on mid lane with the Lion. In most of the games I've been watching, Nature's Prophet, that'll be one of those times where he TP towards the middle lane. Is Cheshire Cat remaining on this top lane just because he needs to, or what's like? Are you meant to be rotating with Cheshire Cat already?
I actually think the first gank where they went for the guy mid, he should have went for the TP, because that would have been almost a guaranteed kill. They had the stun. His follow up right click might have been enough, but probably just didn't respond in time, or they thought they could do it with two. But you have a Queen of Pain without any levels of Scream, so yes, you have that constant damage with the 2 levels of Dagger and the harass, but you don't have that instant.
Yeah.
You don't have that instant burst. Think too. PR right now, when it comes to levels and experience, they're going to be winning out naturally, just because again they're running 2 dual lanes versus the fact that Diggity are running this tri lane. So from my perspective, I think a lot is going to come down to Kazu, and there's a lot of pressure here because he is getting a lot of space. When you get this much space on your offlaner and he's getting this many levels, then there's just going to be more expected of him.
I wait for the rotation from KZ to come as he's almost got that 6 you're talking about. But J4's moved down to the bottom lane now. KZ's going to flag that one out. So they know they're missing a support, and maybe this is also the time where Syndra and Yamsor should start to rotate around. You said nighttime was the play, and it actually looks to be the case. Yep, they're both going to TP down to the bot lane. There's no Radiant Vision here, so they have no idea that Yamsor as well as Syndra have arrived.
You can anticipate it though. I honestly think PR should just hide. This is a really good time for them to hide. If you notice the aggressive positioning of Kazu, this is a really good time for them to just dive under. And this is the play that, if I'm predicting it, then everybody knows. And yet,
there it is.
Still,
Chronosphere is going to happen. They actually missed the stun. Keizu ran just a little inch down, seeing J4 going for that one. So the stun won't connect. The Sunstrike helps out. And no Diggity. As you said, it was pretty well telegraphed. They find the first blood.
That was disappointing because PR know that. I guess the easiest way to tell Toby if moves like this happen is if all the cores hide, then you know what's going on. Then you know we don't want to just trade one core for one core, because that's going to be the response, right? PR will get aggressive on another side of the map. So when they make that play and Alchemist immediately runs to the jungle, why would he stop farming the lane? That should kind of telegraph to you, okay, the next move is they're invading our bottom lane, and we called it at the beginning of the game. I say we very literally,
yeah.
But I called it at the beginning of the game that this was going to be the first lane that they were going to gank, because mid is too unpredictable, but bottom is very easy.
Oh, Big Num. It's almost like now Diggity are actually looking to see this rotation happening before it does. And Big Num, even with all of that regeneration from the 2 points up in Scorched Earth, he dies on a very futile attack.
That was very well done by No Diggity's 2 supports, anticipating that movement, because that's going to be the natural frustration reaction that you went for the bottom lane, you should have seen that. So then you overcommit for the Invoker mid, but even then, the chances of that gank happening are very low.
The way they move as well, like they keep moving outside of the vision of Power Rangers. Like you commit an Observer Ward behind the tower, but the No Diggity gank happened on the bottom lane.
Yeah.
And there's no Observer Ward between the bot lane as well as the mid, so they could just slip themselves up, wave in the trees, and expect a rebuttal gank onto Koitva.
Yeah, that's very well done. And Cinderin is just setting up ward vision right now, and now things have been a little bit reset in their favor just because of those 2 kills. And this is what you want if you're Diggity. It's fake pressure. You're not going to apply this pressure at all times in the game, but it's for free right now.
Oh, Cinderin. He's going to go for the stomp, but this time Prophet, Cheshire Cat will TP over. Cinderin tries to, well, okay, he can't cut his way free of this one. With the movement up from Arise, they guarantee the kill on the support.
Yeah.
Did he actually tried to get the ward down. I think that was actually the original mission, but he failed.
Yeah, that was a little bit too greedy, just because you can't anticipate them not to have that ward at the top half of the map. To spot that rotation.
Gal's going to connect. Chronosphere still available with the Hex, however. It's not instantly going to happen. They might have been looking for, again, that combo with the Sunstrike, but Koifa didn't have mana for it.
Still a good rotation for them to constantly apply pressure to this Spectre, because what this is going to do is it's going to force PR to respond to this rather than make their own moves. So you see the
they
Doom?
should jump. They're going to go again with the Wave of Terror. Here comes the Sunstrike, and goddamn, that's more than enough damage to kill him off from Koifa. And then Yamsel makes sure there's no chase. He puts down the Plague Ward. So this TPing supports him from Power Rangers cannot move up through the tree line quickly.
They rotated their mid hero too, and they're going to spot that with the ward, which is going to prompt the Invoker to continue to farm in this lane area, and they are just playing reactionary Dota right now. This is exactly what Diggity want, and the best thing about it too is that they're playing off of cooldowns, and that's the best thing that you can get out of it. You have very projected outcomes. It's your chrono's up, we go for this kill, your chrono's down, we play passive. And PR aren't really taking advantage of those timing windows in between. Like, they haven't been able to set up a single haunt yet. They're just kind of TPing in after the fact. They weren't able to get anything bottom, but their lineup is still really strong at being able to take fights 4v5 and then TPing 2 people in.
They just need to find a favorable position for it. But while all this is going on, Era's still farming up. We've been seeing Alchemist. I think the average time has been 12 to 13 minutes with the Armlet into Radiance build for them. But he's 1k gold ahead of the Spectre and looks to be very much on target for any kind of item build he wants to go for.
Yeah, the pace of this game definitely is favoring Dig. They've done a good job of applying this, I want to say, it's just this tempo. They're controlling tempo more than anything, and their lineup is not meant to control tempo, especially when you're playing against a lot of counter initiators from PR. They've got Queen of Pain, Spectre. These are both heroes that are fantastic at coming in, but right now Spec is just sitting below. This is something that they might want to set up for, but they have good wards here, and it's all going to come down to how Arise decides to take the next movement.
Well, after that failed TP on bottom lane, I'm wondering if he's also going to be a little bit more cautious about like TPing that early.
Yeah, it does seem like he's a little bit hesitant to rotate out of this mid lane because he knows that they have vision set up at bottom, but he's not exactly sure where. But if you're not going to do anything about bottom, meanwhile at top,
yeah, Era continues to farm. And there's no one else there to grab it. Like Jeshia Caspian moving across the map, you'll finally come to the top lane as the creep wave reaches the tower. But you're at Diggity's time to attack again. Chronosphere's back off cooldown.
yeah, this is the cool part, is they just keep having this rhythm set up. And now with Chrono up, they're going to be a little bit worried, but there's Doom.
They're already time walking out. The Courier's even flying up at the same time. And with the Gale, well, Spectral Haunt's going to go. It looks like they want to kill over on Keizu, but he's got Time Walk available.
Oh,
that's a nothing gank.
that is... I know in our cast it just sounds like we're praising Dig a lot, but there's no bias here. It's really just PR getting shut out a lot of times. Like at bottom, they commit the Haunt, they TP 2 heroes down, they try to commit the Doom to a Faceless Void. He even completes the TP even though he's completely gone. There's nothing that can be done there. And now Dig is just resetting this bottom lane. They know that the big cooldown is down for the Spectre's Haunt.
Yeah.
So now you can just start to play aggressively again. Now he's just waiting by the tower and they don't have any kill pressure.
Even if they do initiate, yeah, you're initiating in, like, Diggity can initiate with Chronosphere, but Yapsil's still got that Nova up and running. So you want to try and go into the fight. You never know when the rest of No Diggity's going to turn up. And Koifa doesn't even, like I'm even still thinking about, like, the progression of the Invoker. Like, Invoker and Alchemist are having the greatest games of their life. They never even have to leave their lanes and they're getting everything they want. Era, all the bonus money, but the fact that Koifa has, like, 1 kill and 1 assist out of the 3 kills of No Diggity.
Yeah, he's just getting side kills, and that's fantastic for an Invoker. And this kind of setup, it tells you that it's the supports really that are controlling the speed of this game right now. Like, they're the ones rotating around, making things happen, and ensuring that their 2 cores kind of have an autopilot game. Because so much of this meta now is dependent on really good support play.
Yep.
That you need your 2 support players to be active, and not just active, but start to predict and play proactively. So you see, for example, the Lion, he's not really sure. He's trying to play proactively, but for the most part, he's a null hero. And the Doom is trying to make things happen, but the Venomancer keeps smartly putting the wards onto the side. This is going to be the first big smoke ink of the game. Synderen's already backing up. Nobody's showing on the map right now.
I don't know if they actually smoked in range of that Dire Observer ward. I don't know if it was just far enough to the side or not. But Synderen, well, smoke gank will be successful. But that's now the second kill that PR have gotten. Both of them have been on Synderen.
Yeah, they have to take this mid tower, and it'll be probably worth it, actually, for them. Taking the mid tower that early in the game, we talked about it in previous cast too, how important it is to just get tempo control. Because now look how they can invade. It's different. It's not as easy for Dig to set up for this. So that was a good move from PR. It doesn't really matter that you killed the Venge, it's that you got the follow-up tower kill.
But how do you keep this momentum up? You're now hitting like a time when Haunt's back off cooldown again. He didn't really use any major abilities, like Wrath of Nature is the only thing which is currently on cooldown for Power Rangers. Do you almost want to keep forcing the point? Like, try and take out more tier 1 towers?
It's hard because you're just going to get acid clouded. And now they're just sitting back. I don't know if this is the move from PR or if this is the best thing to do just because they eventually need to themselves get aggressive again around their ultis. I guess they can always TP the Nature's Prophet and the Spectre in because they have both those ults, but that means the 2 supports on the map have to not show and start to create some space.
Well, for now, none of the Dire Observer wards are at least seeing the supports of Power Rangers. Like they've still got the observer ward behind the tier 1 tower on bot lane, and the fresh one which was placed just in front of the tier 1 tower on the top lane. Spectral Hop. Oh, hello, Synderin. Battling up here with a Rise. As goddamn, he tried to bring a little bit of extra help. He'll swap over, but he'll still tick out. Now Chronosphere, a Rise is locked in position. The Sunstrike's enough to get the kill. So Coinfer, they can move on to a different target. The Cold Snap was onto goddamn, but he's able to retreat down through the river. So again, Synderin dies, but the trade-off is for a core.
Oh,
but Yamstor, well, the Finger of Death ensures his death.
Very well done by PR to set up for that bottom kill at the same time. Because there's no way that Yapstor anticipates that. He thinks that the aggression is going on the north side of the map, then all of a sudden a lion pops up with a Nature's Prophet TPing behind you. Really well done to kind of get some control back. The downside, though, obviously, is that you lost your Queen of Pain, who is starting to get good amount of farm against an Invoker who just continues to play passively around that Midas. And again, it's this core Alchemist who's already got the Relic, 15 minutes in, Armlet to go with it, Radiance to shortly follow.
It's like, does this train, like, it's eventually going to come from Diggity with that huge Alchemist, but I want to see if PR's going to be ready for it. Like, you got an Orchid build by the looks of it coming in from the Queen of Pain. Just see exactly who that is for, because Quover could just build into a Yule Scepter. But does he control up the Venomancer and stop that Nova from getting off?
Yeah.
Or Chronosphere, either way.
Era's already got... Oh, man, there's just so many items filtering in on Diggity right now. Like, I'm starting to see Kezu, he's got 1,300 gold to go along with this. He's got that Vanguard completed already. Maybe opt to go for the Vlads or the Blink Dagger of his own. Maybe Blink even. I don't know if their playstyle allows him to build sort of greedy like that. I think Blink Dagger would be the better option here, especially if you're trying to chase down that Queen of Pain.
You got an Alchemist, I think you can afford to be a little bit greedy.
Then maybe a little.
We had a game in the North American qualifier. Alchemist actually bought 4 Aghanim Scepters for his teammates last night.
And that's so many.
Yeah, it was ridiculous, that game. And they still lost. Actually, kind of wish I forgot that game. Synderin's waiting on bottom lane. So Era rotates down, looking to be that defense against the PR push onto the tier 1 tower.
They don't want to
meanwhile,
dive in.
Keizu's having a great old time up on top lane, but he doesn't actually have a TP scroll on him. So he can't instantly join the fight in the bottom lane.
Yeah, they're starting to TP the Nature's Prophet, but I don't think this one hero scares him too much. Although he is going to back. Don't want to get that tower in deny range in case the Doom could TP up there or anything like that.
Is a Vanguard Void, like, is there really anything he's scared of?
Just Doom. What he's trying to do in a game like this, I think, is bait the Doom onto him. Because if you don't Doom him, you're going to have to expend so much of your burst damage onto him. And then you have to eventually deal with the Alk. The only AoE that they really have aside from their single target is, if you look at their lineup, the Queen of Pain ulti and the Wrath of Nature. The rest is mainly single target. Doom, for example, if you use it on the Alk, then the Invoker's free. They've just kind of spread enough farm on all 3 of their cores, Toby, that it's... Who do you really go for? There's not an ideal target here.
So it's not black and white. I jump on this guy at the very start. Where no Diggity, for them, it's fairly black and white. You jump on anybody.
Yes. Numbers advantage for them is huge.
Yeah. Well, they're going to try and smoke maneuver around. Looks like Tier 1 Town top lane is going to be their end destination. But Cheshire Cat's already on the trade-off. So down on bottom. That Tier 1 tower won't survive. There's no fortification, so no time's going to be bought. Era's just beating into the tower. So this gank's not really going to like be a gank.
They might.
Power Rangers are not allowing them to have it.
I think they could keep going, in all honesty.
When you committed this much, though, like, you actually have to keep going, right?
I think the problem is that...
Oh, the jump. J4 gets the Hex off. Era. There's a Synderin swap out. Goddamn. Well, he can't instantly get over him with the Sun on J4 and the Gale into a Nova. They're going to already get that first kill onto the Lion. But the trade-off is pretty heavy. Both the supports down for no Diggity. And everyone else just retreats out. They didn't have the Void Chrono. Invoker's not involved at all. And PR just won by numbers. That was a 5-on-3.
Yeah, part of the issue is that they showed all their cores at once. So when you have the Invoker farming the jungle, you've got Faceless Void that shows bottom. Then PR know for a fact, oh, this is a free kill. And now they're going to transition this into a tower. So even though it was only 2 supports, this could mean even more. Just getting control of the map. And
does Diggity defend this, though? Like, you don't have your Nova. But Era with the Answer Spray might be able to keep him out. The Cold Snap's on Big Num. He won't be able to get his Doom off in this fight. And there is the TP coming onto the front lines. They know Goddamn's in the trees. His Petrol Dagger actually wore off. So he pushed back out by the looks of it. Yeah, that was not just a graphical thing. Either way, TP will be completed.
Yeah, everybody's going to get out of that one. As soon as Kezu's TP started to come in, I think this was the right idea. And it looks like the Void is still looking for something to happen, but everybody is kind of reset on the side of PR. Void actually just making his way around. They know where everybody is with this one ward.
I still want to see what Arise is able to achieve with this Orchid. He picks it up 19 minutes in. You were saying like PR, like they don't have like an easy this is the target I go for. But it seems like when you pick up an item like this, like you meant to just find momentum. Stun from J4's off target. Keizu.
They want to play this fight.
In 2 seconds, he can jump himself down. The smoke's going to break. The Dire Observer Ward gives him perfect vision. J4 and Goddamn going to get caught. That Doom is still available from Big Num, but he's waiting it out. He accepts the fact that Lion is going to die. But no Diggity can take that kill and then move towards the tower.
Yeah, this is going to be a free tower for them. Cheshire Cat is playing this correctly. He's immediately going to go for the pressure at top, which is the right move, but trade is well worth it for Dig, as they're immediately going to take this, TP somebody down at bottom, and just reset as the Alchemist continues to just get really big. He's already got a Yasha on the courier coming his way too. 186 last hits to his name, and the gold lead, and more importantly, when you have an Alchemist, it's a lot more deceiving, the net worth, so you tend to look at the experience. And in that regard, they're doing quite well for themselves.
Bottom lane, Arise. That's what the Orchid gets to do for him. Kill over on Yapsaw. Actually blinks away knowing the Orchid's going to get the kill. Allowing him to get a quick TP out. And again, Cheshire Cat right there to make sure there's more pressure on the buildings and forcing a reaction out from the other players of No Diggity.
Yeah. It remains to be seen how many of these kills that he's going to be able to get with the Orchid on this Queen of Pain. But that's a good starter because this is a solo kill item.
Just needs to keep finding the opportunities.
Yeah.
You're going to get the D wards out right now, J4. Oh, yeah. It needs the courier. The vision from Cheshire Cat doesn't reach that far during this time of day. Or night, I should say. But there's still one other fresh observer ward that was placed down by No Diggity. So they still have vision of what PR are doing around the Ancients, even if they do lose that one.
I think right now for Power Rangers, the play is just continue to farm out, play it a little bit safe, wait for your timings, wait for opportunities to be made around the Queen of Pain and the two supports, because the other heroes can get there instantly, right? The Spectre doesn't really require anything. He can just haunt in. The Nature's Prophet has that TP, so they can farm efficiently and make things happen at the same time.
No Diggity hovering around Roshan, but they're going to take out the Tier 1 tower on bottom lane finally. 22 minutes before that second Tier 1 tower of PR falls, but PR are very well poised to attack that Tier 2 tower on top.
I think you go for Roshan if you're not going to defend top, which I don't think they can because they don't. Oh, I guess they are going for it.
Yeah, Era TP's back at least. And then they double TP to the back tower. They still have Keizu, and Keizu does have that Blink Dagger, which hasn't been revealed yet. So that's one upside for him, but then again, when you get Hex like that, Cinderin swaps out, he'll take the Finger of Death. Keizu also tuned up. They really do not want that Chronosphere on the field, but it's a one-for-one trade-off, and the battle's going to continue now. Yapsaw to the front lines, that Gale, not quite sure what that was really aimed for, but with this Prophet Sprout, they can't cut through, they can't keep the chase going, but they will find one other target. It's Arise, but he blinks into the trees and TP's out. He's going to survive. Cinderin sticking down to the Urn Charge at the moment. I don't know if is there enough? Nah, it's not enough damage. He'll survive on 11 HP.
Ooh. Looking at the fight recap, you're going to trade Kezu, who had quite a lot of farm on him for just support line. And the reason I was so anxious about that fight is because they don't have the best vision set up there, Toby. So they're just walking in blind. They don't know where half the heroes are, the ones that are going to initiate on them. And at best there, you get a trade. But they lost a lot of damage on that top tier 2. And I think they could have just gone for the Roshan. If they immediately walk towards the Roshan, yeah, you give up that tier 2 at top, but you don't risk too much more than that. For PR to instantly respond, they would have to have already been mobilizing with those 3 heroes for the Roshan. I think they take it pretty quickly, too.
I'll have to live with the decision at the end of the day. The only upside, really, though, is the fact that PR ultis are now on cooldown. So they got a small little window where they can go for Roshan without Spectral Haunt.
Yeah. I think you go for it just because you know Haunt and Doom are down, but still, imagine if they had made this play before, and it wouldn't have cost them anything.
Oh. You see how quickly they're going to do it. The Alchemist now finishes his next item and already has another 2k gold. The Manta style is now done. Are they actually going to give the Aegis to him? Yeah, they are.
Yeah. They did lose Yapsor at that time, and they have to stop being so fond of this top tier 2 tower. This is a tower that, for all intents and purposes, is kind of a null tower for them. It's eventually going to go down. There's a Nature's Prophet in the game. It's not worth risking heroes, especially when all of your heroes can't respond because they're at Roshan.
Is that?
Hmm?
Sorry. Yeah, they passed the gem over. Yeah, that's Era's gem.
Oh, nice.
Because I was thinking like the wards were gone on the top lane. I'm thinking why would the Venomancer actually be there? It looks like he was dewarding, and then they managed to steal the gem from him as well when he died.
Oh,
would be the assumption.
It's a pretty big swing. They are going to take this mid tier 2 tower though, and again, the reason why PR can't respond to that is A, they're going to take that top tower, but B, they have no vision of where all the initiating heroes are. You notice in any sort of push, the heroes that have to swap out or jump in are going to be hiding in the sidelines.
Yep.
So without any ward vision, you don't know where they're hiding. It's hard to take a fight without complete information.
Era wants to keep forcing into more towers. The last remaining tower for PR, and of course this is an Alchemist. He can do whatever the crap he wants. So say goodbye to your tier 2 tower on bot lane. They're gonna fortify forward. I don't know if they're really trying to buy any kind of time. Yapsor has currently built a wall of wards to make sure that tier 3 tower will survive on top.
Yeah.
So there's no counter push for it all.
Right now, PR in a pretty decent position just because they've been able to set up ward vision up at this top area, and most importantly, getting that gem away from Diggity. It's going to be fairly significant, but Era could decide to build one of the Aghanim Scepters right now. The Invoker's going to build his own, so there's no need for that, but even getting it on the Venomancer I think would be fairly worth it at some point.
He just goes straight Octarine though. So
you do farm really fast with it.
Yeah. He's got 21,000 net worth at the moment. Like, I really shouldn't be that surprised by this, and I really am not. We've seen this from Alchemists all the time.
This is an Alchemist special.
It really is. The Alchemist, like, at this point too, like, do you finish up your Assault Cuirass? Like, that's been the regular build here for the Alchemist. It's the last thing he misses once the Aegis is timed out. Or do you start buying up the Aghanim Scepters for your teammates?
I don't know. I would really like to see the Ags on at least the Vengeful Spirit. Or not the the Venomancer. Because the Venomancer would benefit from it so much. There's a huge power spike associated with that hero once he does get the Ags. It might even mean that he's a target for a lot of these disables that would originally go on Era anyways.
Cheshire Cat's the closest to this gank at the moment. No Diggity smoked up. Cheshire Cat will walk around the corner. Synderen's going to see him swap in. However, miscommunication a little bit. The Gale won't be able to connect, but the Sunstrike pretty much on target. And that'll allow Qualifier to get the kill as he is locked inside that Sprout. Gotta go nowhere.
Yeah, the Lion manages to get himself out. At the same time, losing the Nature's Prophet though, pretty decent chunk of change there. As the Alchemist just continues to farm, he's going to meet his team for this bottom tier 2 push. The lanes are relatively pushed out, so it's hard for him to... it's hard for PR to respond to this right now, because they have to first deal with all of these creeps.
I know Diggity ready to go up, however. You managed to take out all the out of towers. You can play this game of like split push while the Prophet's down. But can No Diggity force the issue?
I think they still
have the Aegis the Immortal on the Alchemist. So
yeah,
is that the ticket?
I think you just send the Alch front line and force PR to just waste abilities on this guy. And if they waste too many, then Diggity have a free chance at this. Plus, if you frontline with this hero with the Aegis, he's not a Doom target anymore. It's pointless. So now Void's got an instant way to come back in and defend. So the only way that PR can accurately get any information is with the Haunts. Then they have to play around that. But this tower is going to fall down really quickly. And they have to do something about Era, but Alchemist with Aegis, not even worth it.
Yeah, like you want to initiate in, the amount it takes to kill him off, like in that Chemical Rage is so much. But what else do you do? Oh, Yapsor, nice ulti. Keizu as well with the perfect Chronosphere. The Sunstrike's coming in. Big Numb's dropping down low, so you won't even have your Doom for this fight, or will you? You will, but the damage is done. Faceless Void's just going to walk this off at the moment. Cheshire Cat's trying to make sure he goes down far enough, but Era is inside the PR base, killing off heroes. You'll lose your Faceless Void. 3 heroes down, but the big one's still up. It's the Alchemist. He goes over. He'll go after Goddammit. It's an ultra kill for the Alchemist. In 1 second, he could probably go for more because he's still got his illusions and the unstable concoction. Big Numb, his days are numbered. And this is actually going to be it. It's going to be a rampage for the Era Alchemist. He goes 6-0-4, 5 out of the 6 kills in just the last 30 seconds. That takes the bottom ranks to boot.
Doesn't even use his Aegis. It finally just fades right now. They're in such a comfortable position right now with how much gold that they've been able to get. Cheshire Cat is beating away. He's been forced to use the buyback, but even then, not very effective as just continues to beat away at this tower. The rest of Diggity have already respawned in the time that Era has ravaged the base of PR.
Oh, Cheshire Cat. Does he find... He knows Qualifier is really, really low.
Oh, J4?
He can go for that stun. Like, this is a small opportunity. You have like an 8-second window, I think it is, between when Chemical Rage times out and he can start it up again. And that window is right now, but you still got armor, you still got support, and Arise, the finger, the double stun. Oh, they can't do enough. Arise is down, Era triggers up the rage. Cheshire Cat's dying as well with Sidran swapping him back into the Forge Spirits. GG.
Really well done by Dig all over. And I know a lot of people will point to certain fights, but I think the best part was that they set the tone early. Going for those 2 kills in the beginning, setting up for that counter kill in mid. They got control of that bottom area. They never let it go. That's essentially what allowed this Alchemist to continuously snowball. There was like a 10-minute period of time where they weren't doing anything against this guy. Like, they allowed their Alchemist to farm. They put so much pressure at bottom. Really well done by the 2 supports and the Faceless Void to kind of just allow this game to get out of hand for them.
That's the type of Dota which, like I know there was a couple of people who have recently been talking about the casters using words of like rhythm, timing, rotations a lot more than we have previously, but this, for me, almost feels like a perfect example of that. Like, they seem to know exactly what they want to achieve, when they want to achieve it, and executed wonderfully. And they read PR's movements. Yep. So, PR, well, we'll see what they do. Game number 2, around the corner. Stay tuned. We'll be back.